Hey, Wayne here. I'm going to share a story of something that happened at Central Prison a little bit before my time. I knew some of the people that were involved in this situation. As a result of talking to them, reading reports on this incident that happened that we used for training, so I'm going to just sort of tell you a little bit of story. This was a hostage situation that happened in Central Prison. And this hostage situation occurred in what's referred to as Diagnostic Center, which did educational and psychological testing for new inmates coming into prison. And what happened is three inmates had managed to get a note. You had to have a hall pass, basically a pass, to go to the Diagnostic Center. And when they got there, the door's closed, has a window up in it so you can see out. And so they showed their pass, and when they opened the door, they forced their way inside the Diagnostic Center, past the officer. They all had knives, were wielding knives, and they took 8 hostages. 2 of them were program staff. One was a correctional officer, one was a chaplain, the other 4 were inmates. And their goal was that they didn't feel that they were safe at Central Prison, and so they wanted to get transferred to a federal prison where they felt like they would be safer. And this situation lasted for a few days. Don't remember exactly how many days, but the sort of part of it that's very interesting is that during the negotiations that they did, the warden at the time, when they would negotiate for food and water and those kinds of things, he said before you could do anything, he had to approve everything. And so one thing was for food. And so he had to bring the food into him before they took it there, and he actually put salt on the sandwiches before they took them in. And in his mind, I guess if they didn't have anything to drink, then they would want something to drink. That would be more fuel to negotiate with. And so it was sort of a backwards and forwards. Fortunately, nobody was hurt in the situation. But during this incident that happened, the state SBI was involved in it. And so a part of the negotiation was that they wanted to be transferred from Central Prison. And first it was like, no, we're not going to. Yes, you're going to. And then we had the emergency response team. They came in, and they had a sniper, and they were looking at ways that they could get in the area. Well, prisons are designed to keep people out. And as good as they are at keeping people out, they also keep people in. And when you want emergency staff to be able to get into an area, it's hard to do so. And there was 2 entrances into that area. And both of them were key doors. And it would be hard to get in them very quickly and staff not get injured. And so the next thing was, okay, can we get a sniper in there to get a chance to take out these guys? And again, the way it was designed with the windows, there's just not an opportunity for them to be able to do something. Because now, if they could have done so, they'd have took these guys out. That's just what, their safety was not a key priority in this situation. The safety was the hostages. And whether they were other inmates or staff didn't matter. Their safety was number one. And so ultimately what they did agree that, hey, okay, we'll get you transferred. And so they go through this process. They get highway patrol involved. They get someone that's not prison staff to go in there to get these guys to release the hostages. And they take them out down to receiving. They get them all in appropriate attire for transfers and restraints. Put them in a vehicle, leading them to believe that they were being taken to a federal facility. But unbeknownst to them, they show up at another state facility And so they ended up staying within the state of North Carolina. They didn't go anywhere else. They didn't get what they wanted. But the key thing with hostage situations is you want safety of staff. And so fortunately, staff came out on top. They were okay. They did have some trauma that they had to deal with it. But they did survive. One of the staff members that I knew worked with several occasions. He didn't really want to talk about it. He didn't discuss it much, and that's understandable. But there's always the potential, if you go to work in a prison, that you can be taken hostage. And a part of what we teach, or we taught, and they still do teach this, that if you're taken hostage, responsibility is your safety by other staff. And if that means taking an inmate out, then so be it. That's what we'll do. But the key priority is that inmate is not going to escape. He's not going to use you to escape. If that means that inmate has got a knife to your throat and walks you to the front gate and says, "Look, y'all either open this gate up or this guy's I'm going to cut his throat." Unfortunately, just hate to say it, in North Carolina, unless the policy has recently changed, they will not open that door to let you out and let that guy out. And the hope is that it doesn't come to that. Fortunately, it has not come to that in North Carolina. I'm sure other states probably have dealt with it, but it's just the cold reality of working in a prison is that the chance of you getting taken hostage is there. The chance of you getting injured is there. I was assaulted once. Fortunately, I didn't have any major injuries from it, but I know a bunch of guys that I worked with who were stabbed, cut, beat up severely, and fortunately they survived. But then I know some other people that I didn't work directly with that were assaulted and lost their life. And that's a true reality. A prison is a very dangerous place to work. And unfortunately, when it comes to hostage situations, assault situations, sometimes staff get complacent in working in a prison. It is not like any other place. So you always have to be on your toes. Keep an eye on everything that's going around you to try to hopefully keep from those kinds of things happening. And unfortunately, as good as we try to be, and staff try to be, to prevent those things from happening, sometimes they do happen. But it's just a reality of it. So I hope you enjoyed this little short story. Until next time, have a great day and be safe.